G'day, guys and girls. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Bros with Brains. I have no idea what week we're up to anymore or what day it is or what time it is, but back with another exciting episode. Chrissy's decided to show face for a little bit. He's getting to the back end of prep, so we're going to get a nice little quick rundown of how he's feeling and let him F off and sleep and die and come back to life in the morning. How are you, boys?
Yeah, I mean, happy days, you know? Happy days.
What are we at the moment? What day are we at the moment?
Well, what are we now? I'm looking at the calendar. It's 25 days from till showtime. So,
close.
Yeah, just trying to make every day count. Like really just trying to, there's so many boxes that I have to tick throughout a day that it's I suppose the mental toll of, you got to do cardio, you got to do your steps in, you still got to train hard, still get your meals in, still got to do all of the things in order to get the results that we're kind of chasing. So the physique's coming in nicely. I've hit some new lows down in the 89s. So
very nice.
Weight is dropping off nicely. Glutes are starting to kind of box out a little bit.
All that.
Detail every day.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else is starting to kind of come together. But really, I suppose it's still pulling down a ton of fatigue. Like I had a massive adrenaline dump after I had my 3 clients competing at the ICN.
Yep.
Over the weekend. So that day for me was fucking huge. Like the next 2 days, I was just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Even today, like I'm just starting to get a bit more energy about me again. And sleep's been fucking pretty much non-existent over the last couple of days. So it's good now to find a couple of days.
They did well though, so congratulations. They did do well.
They did.
They
killed it.
Yeah, I'm very
proud of them.
So they absolutely crushed it. So Jess took out a couple divisions. Noah comes second in a massive fitness division and third in the open. And then M-Dog, my missus did extremely well. First show and comes second in the bikini open and second in the rising star. So my opinion, probably a little bit unlucky not to win the overall. I think it was very, very close. They spent a long time comparing them, just pushing them through their paces again and again and again. So massive congrats to those guys and absolutely crushed it. So, but I was absolutely destroyed. Like when I got, even now, like my ankles are still swollen from just being on my feet all day, wearing shit shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to hang on at the moment. So
for everyone too, Chris currently will not have lubrication and fat in his joints. So standing is going to be excruciatingly painful. Shitty shoes adds tenfold to that.
I literally did down. I was just run off my feet all day. So it was great day though. Great day.
Did you have your refeed last week?
I don't even know what a refeed is anymore.
Well, you know what I mean. was it last week or this week coming?
I think I've literally been running back-to-back low days for the last 7 to 10 days or something.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just been ripping in pretty hard, and that's pretty low for me. I think we've been cruising in at about, what are my macros? I think it was 285 or 275 protein, 275 protein, 100 carbs, 40 fat, which is 1,800-ish calories. So we've been rinsing that for quite some time. As you can imagine, I mean, look, to be perfectly fair, I actually don't feel that bad because one thing that we figured out with me is I adapt to ketosis quite well. So I actually my perception of diet fatigue, my perception of hunger, a lot of that stuff actually comes with the increase in carbohydrate. The shitty thing is obviously it kind of comes twofold with training performance, so it's we can't dig too long without a little bit of a break, because you dig too long without a bit of a break, run the risk of tissue loss, and you just put your performance in the shitter. So pretty much we can only do that for, 3, I think we did that for about 6 or 7 days. And then, we did that for about 3 to 4 days. And now we've got a couple of days at 100 carb to finish off the week.
Yep.
So still in a huge deficit over the course of the week. Body weight's still ticking down. Everything else is still moving in the right direction. It's just, I'm at a position now with my physique where it's I'm probably a little bit watery in certain areas, and just from all the fatigue that we haven't washed away yet. So basically I think over the next, we'll probably continue to dig, I think, for at least another week or two. And then into peak week, we'll just start washing off fatigue. And then that will land us pretty good. I still think, we'll probably come into the VIX I don't know if we'll be 100% for the VIX. We'll probably be like, I don't know, maybe 85 or 90.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suppose, 100% for nationals, given that it's 3 weeks later. So I still think we'll be pretty damn good at the VIX. So I've paid my rego for that, got everything sorted. So that'll be good to go. But yeah, I mean, look, I'd be if I said I was feeling good, it would just be a barefaced lie.
And it's very barefaced too.
What did you say your carbs were at the moment?
Today they're 200, but the last for the longest period they've been like 100.
So yeah, it's twice now that your internet's frozen twice on the exact time that you said how many carbs you're on. So 200 carbs, but then it cut out.
100 for the longest time.
100 for the longest time. Okay, cool.
Not longest time, but 100 to rip in hard, and then. Then 200 to kind of finish the back of the week to pull a bit of fatigue off, pull some fluid off. Because typically what we'll see is obviously we're creating a massive deficit through that 3-4 days or whatever it is that we're digging really hard for.
Yep.
My body weight won't really shift too much until we add some carbs back in, and then bang, we'll see that those losses kind of actualize on the scale. So, I had a couple of days. I had yesterday at 200, today at 200, and my body weight this morning was all time this prep low in the high 89s. So it's pretty much now just a matter of just fucking getting through the days and just ticking off all the tasks that I still have to do. And I suppose the only thing that it's just everything else, because you're still in prep and you still have to do all of the prep things.
Yes.
But at the same time, you still have your responsibilities and you got work to do and still have to do all those things which tend to take me twice as long given the brain capacity is like fucking halved at the moment. So I'm just doing the best I can,
Yeah, for sure. No, that's completely fair, man. I guess, how is it affecting your other, day-to-day life, like your work and all that sort of stuff? What sort of toll is it taking on you there? Or is it sort of just getting through now, the minimum?
Look, it's not like the work doesn't get done. It's just like, it just takes me longer to do, So I'm not that mad about it because if I'm working, at least my mind is off of other things.
Yes.
In saying that too, there's still that total stress load that you've got, that it's good though, because, the boys obviously give me quite a bit of work at Strength Lab to finish out this prep because they know obviously how important it is to me. So they haven't really bombarded me with work or they've been super cool with everything. So they've kind of just let me, just take a little bit of a step back and just do what I need to do and just lock in for this last 3-5 week period and just, get the job done. So it makes it easier, having a really good support crew like that, are able to just give me kind of free rein when I kind of need. So it's been good.
No, that's good, man. I guess, has there been much on in terms of work and stuff? Have you tried to get ahead of it at the start of the prep where you're like, oh, okay, I feel good now, I'm going to push so I know that when I get to the back end of prep, I'm probably going to be dying, so I'm going to do the bare minimum?
Not really, man, because honestly, the way it generally goes is you are probably more busy in the off season, so you should be tapering your work down coming into the shows because I've got more inquiries and stuff from people, but I just can't. I've just said to anyone that's a new inquiry, I will reconvene or potentially take you on after I finish this contest season. Because again, I am aware of the work that needs to be done to put my best physique on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to obviously give a shitty service to any one client in particular. So I'm never going to overextend myself in regards to, the coaching process. So I don't want to put anyone through the work's done. It just is what it is. It's just one of those things, but it's just the perception of it is a lot more difficult, I suppose. The perception of the same workload, but outside of that, that's just part of life. You can't. That's part of life of being an amateur bodybuilder is we aren't paid to do this. If you're an online coach, if you're solely an online coach, fantastic, but you still have to run your business, on the side of this as well.
Yep.
And I'm just lucky and fortunate that, I do work still at a studio as well. So realistically, I don't rely solely on just online stuff, so, it's extra challenges that kind of come along with the territory, I suppose.
Totally fair, man.
Whereas if you're a pro, you basically paid to do this and you can really just spend your ass all day and literally just boxes.
Yeah,
in some ways that may be worse, because like work gives me a little bit of something to focus on outside of like just prep.
Yep.
Something that's probably has been a bit of a challenging one through prep is like, obviously as you diet down, I suppose you guys will both know it as well, being coaches too. Like there's a certain emotional toll that comes from dealing with so many different athletes and people, So like you take on a lot of their problems at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when I'm feeling fucking terrible, when I have someone saying that, they couldn't do this because of that or couldn't do this because of that. And it just like, that I think is one of the hardest things is like, because I'm so emotionally invested as a coach in the process, in that I generally have a good relationship with every single one of my clients.
Yeah.
It's and you take on, their emotional baggage almost. It does wear on you quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably one of the hardest aspects of prep is that, because like even still, it's fantastic when you're opening up a check-in and it's like, fucking crushed it, nailed it, fantastic week. But then when you get a few check-ins that are back to back to back and they're like, shit week, fucking the dog died, this happened, like it does start to wear on you.
Yeah.
So that's probably been one of the most challenging aspects of prep that I think, goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I guess we're at the best of times, we take on that because we actually genuinely care about our clients. And then it's like, imagine having like being in your position with a lot less energy, everything just becomes heightened. And it's like, something that's so simple and small just gets worse and worse because of just how you're feeling and, not having that outlet probably to get that emotion out from your own perspective, because especially if you're training, you're suffering and training's your outlet. It's like training suffers, so you feel bad. And it's just this cycle of everything getting worse and worse and worse.
It's like psychologists and stuff, even they need debriefing, decompartmentalization techniques. They need people to like ventilate too, because that same toll, though in a coaching sense, I guess not the same degree, but with that emotional exhaustion from being in prep and like how you are right now, just completely drained, they still need that period where they're able to vent it and able to pass those things on. Like especially if like, say you have a really shit day, and obviously none of us want to be that person as a coach. You go through a heavy diet period, you can't then like take it out on your clients or be like, sorry guys, I'm dieting, you just have to bear with me. Like you want to be still invested, you want to still be there and like take on their shit. Like, no, nothing's changed. Keep talking to me. Like, let's see how we can deal with it. What's happened? How do we overcome it? But then obviously that's going to weigh heavy on you, and you just haven't got that cognitive energy to either compartmentalize it, restrict it, not worry about it so much. So it's going to come through heavier. And then obviously, for some people, they have an outlet that isn't what we do to let it out. So yeah, it's completely understandable that that's going to be such a drain. And it's not even to say like in a negative way, like, oh, it's a drain. It's more like, it's just, I want to help you with your problems. I want to take them on. I want to help you get through them. But also I'm fucking cognitively declined right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just in Chris's head. Nobody's home right now.
You can talk, but the phone isn't answering.
Yeah, pretty much.
Leave a message and I'll get back to you in 3 to 5 working weeks.
Yeah, I'll get back to you 3 days post-comp when I've had some food.
How did Em pull up? Like, what was her excitement after her first show?
Yeah, look, it's one of those things as well, it's an interesting post-show period because you romanticize it in your head that like you're going to get a nice meal in, you're going to feel amazing, you're going to feel fantastic. And this is generally what happens. It's been my experience with a lot of clients is like you almost go through this post-show lull period whereby you finish the show, you maybe get your little box of cookies, you eat your cookies, you end up probably eating a bit too much, eat until you feel sick. And then that may last for a couple of days, or a few days until you finally say, okay, maybe this is enough. I need to really kind of put in here as well. So for her, I think what I've noticed now is like over the last couple of days, like, she's ate a couple of things and that sort of thing, but like she's still adamant on wanting to stay like in decent shape. So like it's a hard thing to kind of watch and like for me to watch in the sense of not because it worries me at all, but it's just like, watching someone that's just gone through a period of like, calorie restriction for an extended period of time to get in, decent condition. Watching for like, it's not even that she wants to do these things. It's like, it's more of just like, innate human behavior to try and return back to homeostasis, So, ideally, we obviously pushed the food up. Today's like a first day kind of like back on I suppose, back on a plan, because we've got a photo shoot in like 5 weeks' time, which I think is kind of timed perfectly because it means that she can't, let it go.
Yeah.
She can't let it get too far out of control, because she obviously, I'm going to be fucking inside out peeled by the time we get to this photo shoot.
Yeah.
So she obviously wants to be looking good for the photo shoot too. We want to get shots together. So it kind of means that she needs to pull it back a little bit and, obviously, and, move into a bit of a recovery phase and, restore some of those metabolic hormones that, typically get a bit, fucked up during the prep. So, but yeah, like outside of that, like she's been good. I think she's just like, you get that big post-show adrenaline dump, and it's never probably what you think it's going to be. You always, romanticize about the process being over. So I think it's important to still, those habits that carried you through your entire contest prep, you should still try and hold those habits through. So like, even if it's something as simple as, waking up, you have your oats for breakfast, like still do that,
Yeah.
Or even like, maybe for the first week or so, you keep cardio in just because it's part of your routine and it keeps you going. Because I guarantee if you can make it to that 3 or 4 week period with minimal, I suppose, post-show weight gain. I mean, obviously some weight gain is inevitable and it should be encouraged, but, I'm talking about the blowouts that typically happen, whereby you see people gain 5 to 10 kilos in like a 2 week period or a week period, which does happen. And I've been guilty of it myself. It's not something I've been able to control that well. The last time was the best time and it took me like 3 weeks to kind of rein it in. That was after I'd punched like 3 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So it's
in one sitting.
Learning. It wasn't one sitting.
Yeah.
It wasn't one sitting. So that's kind of the dark things, I suppose, that people don't talk about during a prep. And it's there's no real way out of it, just through it, and trying to maintain those habits that got you shredded in the first place. And then, at least if you make it to that 3 or 4 week period when hunger hormones start to settle, then, you can probably move back into some more, even if maybe you overshot your maintenance or your recovery diet a little bit too aggressively, you could pull that back down a little bit. And, it's not dieting again. It's just, maybe you overshot your maintenance a little bit too much. And, you can start your kind of reverse diet from that position as opposed to the old traditional reverse diet, where people would still be in a deficit for the first like 5 to 7 weeks of like a post-show period, which would just fucking suck,
Yeah, you got down to 1,800, we'll give you 2,100. Yeah, that's an increase, but it's still a fucking drastic deficit.
Yeah. You get more food. You're still in a deficit, but you get more food, so it's okay.
Still a drastic deficit.
Yeah.
You're 100 kilos human.
She's done really well. I'm really impressed with all 3 of my athletes that competed. They've probably handled the post-show period fucking, better than I've seen a lot of people. And I think it's because I really put a focus point on that in the prep that, we need to make sure that we're nailing our recovery diet well. Because it's going to be a good springboard to kind of reverse diet from. Because what you don't want to happen is immediately post-show, put on a ton of fat, and then you're just in a shit position to fucking continue to grow for any length of time. So it's a good period to like, you want to gain some body fat and you want to put some weight on, but, it doesn't need to be excessive. It doesn't need to be excessive to settle those hunger hormones. It just needs to be back to maintenance, maybe slightly above. Enjoy a few free meals. And some of the constraints that I typically have been giving my guys is like, and girls is like, yes, I'm okay with you going and having a free meal with your family. I'm okay with you going and do all that sort of stuff. But what I don't like to see is them sitting at home just eating block after block after block of chocolate by themselves.
Yeah.
Because that to me is a different sort of behavior than it is a socially driven behavior where they're just going out to crave that interaction again.
I guess on the other side of that, you'd also probably pull down activity a little bit, wouldn't you? If they're on, high amounts of steps or something along those lines, for example, or cardio, you'd pull that out to help the recovery phase anyway. So it's not like we're just manipulating the energy intake. We're also, manipulating the energy out side of the equation.
I also do that from a training perspective as well.
Yeah.
So, I pull output down. I'll typically run like a bit of a maintenance block in conjunction with maintenance nutrition post show. So, whether that's something like 6 to 8 working sets per body part with, 2 to 3 reps in reserve for the entire time, maybe a shorter 3 to 4 week block, just in out. Because again, you're not in a position to really preferentially grow any muscle.
Exactly.
So you're not going to be able to run, immediately post show. It can be tempting because you're like, oh yeah, I finished this prep and my quads sucked or my back sucked or my lats sucked. So now I'm going to just move straight into a specialization phase. I'm going to smash back 3 days a week with fucking 20 sets.
Yeah.
Probably not a fantastic idea. You'd be better off just priming yourself first, going through like a bit of a primer or a recovery period for 3 weeks, because it's tempting. I've done it before as well. I've made these mistakes so the listeners don't have to, I've made these mistakes time and time again. And like, I guarantee like your best bet is to try and pull as much accumulated fatigue off as possible, because regardless of what you think, it's going to take you 8 to 12 weeks to return back to baseline.
Yeah.
And that's just to get in a good position to grow from. So ideally, if you can get to that, 6, 7, 8 week period, and, you've literally just been running maintenance volume, maintenance nutrition, maintenance supplementation, whatever it is, you're pulling off, maintenance output, and you're just pulling off a ton of, allostatic load or total systemic stress, it's going to put you in a fantastic position to actually grow from, as opposed to being too fat and then trying to grow from that and then wanting to mini cut in 2 months time.
Yeah, well, it's like we have that pre-prep phase where you prep somebody to prep. It's the same thing on the back end, right? Post-prep phase, it's like recovery, get ready so that we can grow and grow optimally. Makes sense.
Correct.
So how's Queensland going, Benny boy? Much happening?
It's all good now. Weather died off. Storms went away. Floods eased up. Everyone's like recovering, and all the places that got flooded are going through like the disaster relief stuff now. So yeah, no, it's fine for us, but obviously there's people that are much worse off. The Premier copped a huge slack. They reacted a bit slow to the first flood, so she sent out an email, the automated message, like preemptively.
Yeah,
it was like 32-degree day, sunny as shit. The bomb came through with like a potential storm. Sends out a statewide email. Hey, if your kids are in Brisbane or like schools or like whatever, shut your business, get your kids out of school, take them home.
Yeah,
there was like a 30-second drop of rain, and all these kids, like people just shut down businesses and just like taking everyone home. And it was literally nothing. Like it just passed in fucking 20 minutes. So yeah, she copped a bit of a hit for that. People were closing down businesses and going home early and knocking off work for literally no reason. But yeah, no, that was a bit of a laugh. Other than that, yeah, no, it's pretty standard. I think our mask mandates and stuff have lifted. All that shit's gone. So yeah, fucking piece of piss, ready for Chrissy to come move up.
Yeah, when's that?
Man, it's gonna be fucking good.
April, May.
No,
April.
April, yeah.
April,
So after Nationals, we basically finish the show, because Nationals is on the Saturday. So we'll do the Nationals on Saturday. I take Sunday, a couple of days to kind of just enjoy myself and chill. And then we'll start, obviously, the process of getting everything. And then we leave that Friday. So we leave that following Friday, so the 29th of April. So that's going to be good. We start to drive up, and we'll stop off and see Carl, the girlfriend's boyfriend, girlfriend's brother, on the way through.
Yeah.
Maybe stay with him for a night or so, and then make a bit of a trip out of it. So looking forward to it, man. It's going to be good. So
where's he? Whereabouts is he?
Sydney.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Then we'll head up and move in with Clinny P and his Miss Demi, and we'll be living with them for a few weeks until we get our place sorted, and we'll be pretty much good to go. So it's all exciting. So it's kind of happened at the perfect time, because it's like Nationals is like bang, and then we're able to kind of pack. It's just worked really well with our lease ending at that time. So just got to get through these next fucking weeks of hell, and then we'll be fucking set to go. But nothing I can't handle. Just need to take things a bit slower and things up.
It's funny for everyone listening, like we have a chat between the three of us, and you can tell the days where Chris is just like, he's just not there. Send something just to fucking chat shit, and there's just like a like from Chris. Normally there'd be a nice little message back about something, there's just a like. You're like, all right, it's one of those days. Either Chris just wants me to fuck off, or he's just not
until I get like proper refeed, I'll be fucking sweet. So
yeah, it'll be reversed in 6 months, but I'm just like, just fuck off, boys. Here's Chris.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What I am trying to do though is, like, even though like I would say I am quite a bit of, like, I've been hurting for a while, I'm really trying to take in the moment of it, because I know how quickly, even just watching Emily through her prep, and then it just being over like that, and like it's done. It's like it's such a hard transition point, and that I really want to try and take it in and suck it in and be more present in the prep, because often you're just thinking, like, when it starts to really hurt, you're like, fuck, I just wish this was over. But I really want to. I know it'll be over soon, and I know that I'll miss it. So I really just want to fucking appreciate the process while I'm still in it.
That was my, not regret, but definitely something I reflected back on. A lot more on the first one was just like, you got to that point where food was just sucking, and I was in a deep suck for a while, and things weren't pulling down more. So more output, and I was just like, each time I was walking or something, I'm just like, instead of being like, I've worked fucking hard to look this lean, like I am in pretty good nick, I was more like, fuck, when is this going to be like, how quickly is this 4 weeks going to go? Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Like, and it's just, you just end up wishing time away instead of looking back at it and thinking like, I should have been looking forward to those weeks as opposed to like wishing them to go. You get to those points where it's where you really start to test your mantle and test what you've got and like how focused you can be, how disciplined you can be. It's like a whole different part of your mind that you've never really experienced before. For you have. And I'm just more there. Like, it got to a point where work was fat. Like, work was struggling, training was struggling, food was struggling. I was just like, wish this was over. Not so much over, but like, I wish that bit would go. And then looking back at it now was more just reflecting on, like you said, I should have just been more present with it and enjoyed all the parts of it that, it wasn't as fun as having a box of fucking KFC, but that's not the fun we want. So, definitely a fair reflection.
Yeah, I'm not like it's funny because I'm hungry, but I don't want to say I'm hungry because I know Chris is hungry.
Well, I actually managed appetite quite well. It's not like, honestly, I wouldn't say I've been that hungry. It's just more like, because I managed, like I said, I managed food volume decently well, and everything's kind of ticking along. But it's just I don't really know what it is, to be honest.
Like the lack of energy.
Yeah, just the lack of energy and just like how much slower and harder things are.
Yeah.
That's the kicker,
Yeah.
I suppose better than doing that and being hungry as well.
Well, I was going to say, like, which one would you rather? Would you rather be like, lack of energy but not hungry, or be really hungry and have a little bit more energy?
Yeah. Lack of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, would you rather? No.
Alrighty, boys, I might take off because my bladder is so small now.
All right, big guy. Have another good week, mate. I'll be sure to piss you off in the meantime.
Yeah.
See you later,
Ciao.
See you, mate.
I mean, it's funny because also for the listeners, his internet was going to shit. So it's like every time you'd ask him something important, the internet cuts out. It's like,
it makes him even slower.
Yeah, it's like, bro, he wasn't that slow. It's just his internet was freezing. So
a slow man going even slower.
Yeah, but anyway, how's training been going up there? Anyway, you've been able to train since last week, since we had all our godly events that have been happening to you, and all the signs saying that you can't train. Have you been able to train?
Great fucking training. Like shoulders a little niggly still, but doing more like I realize, and I take ownership for it, is that I go through this period where I get comfortable with a rehabilitation phase or rebuild phase, and then I neglect the things I should do to maintain that rebuild. Mm-hmm. And like my form doesn't go sloppy or anything like it doesn't go from like tucked elbows to flailing or anything like that. But it's just like, and this is a compensation system that, most of us will know about. But if I've got a preference to how I move, that's going to be the most mechanically beneficial, my body's going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that might've been avoiding internal rotation a bit more. And so my infra spinatus is just like, a bit weaker. So if I'm not paying attention to that, and then I've done the rehab, built it back up, got it stronger, but then it's not going to be as strong as the shoulder and the chest and the bicep that's been taking all the load for so long. Yeah. So I just fall off thinking about that process for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, there's a strain there. Oh yeah, dickhead, do this. Yeah. So just been those little niggles that are coming through. I'm like, fucking get this right before prep, fix this, figure this out. Yeah. So getting the body in a good position. But no, strength's come back since COVID. Back up to 3 plates on the old hacky, which is good because that was about pre-COVID strength, but for much more controlled reps. Mm-hmm. Pendulum's back up to pre-pendulum weight. Back is getting fucking stupid strong. Like we've maxed out the low hand single arm rows and your hammer strength. So retraction movements, back movements are getting really strong. So no, it's good.
It's good.
Getting to a nice point before prep starts where everything just gets into a good system and ticks over, and started being a lot more rigid with tracking food and keeping everything in place. So yeah,
when you start prep, May?
I'll aim for May. I'll probably get back on board with Dolt. So like I said last time, I've taken over this week I'll finish off the block we've got, and then I'll sit down with Tom and look at what we want to do and sort of where my volume markers are. Like we were talking about, I think my knee flexion and extension, just like it's at that volume, but also like exercise selection is at that cap volume where just like 3 heavy flexion and extension movements going straight through the knee just is brutal for me. Yeah. Like, going fucking leg extension, pendulum, hack, RDL, you're getting full flexion, then you're getting full extension, and then you're getting obviously hip stand hinging. And it's just like that lengthening, shortening of the knee, and like everything around the knee is just, it gets tight for me. And obviously having a tendinopathy, it's like in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't want this again. I don't want this pain again. Stay focused on form, stay focused on control. So yeah, those hammy movements can be a little bit stronger, but I'm just stuck in that little, not mental block, but at the same time, it's just like that, keep mobility in there, keep everything working and moving, because I don't want to pull something, but at the same time, is it in my head that it's tight or is it actually tight? So yeah, just working through all that. We'll rejig the program in a bit just to alleviate some of that volume buildup. That first leg day is pretty brutal compared to the second. So might just shift some exercises there, try and get some more shoulder and arm volume markers up, get a bit more work through there. And yeah, we'll go from there. It should be fun.
Beautiful. Sounds like a plan. It's going to be fun to see what you come up with.
Yeah. It'll probably be like at the moment, man, we had 5 days because worlds are so busy. Like it's cool when a gym wants to have a variety of equipment, but if you've got cool equipment and people aren't programmed, they're just winging it on like, I'm doing leg day. And they've got 40 different exercises and they want to do all the cool machines at Worlds. It means you're stuck riddled with waiting for people to get through their session and having to get to the piece you actually need for your program session, which obviously if you rearrange that program on the day, it's going to change whether or not you have accumulated fatigue or stress on that day. So changing hack squats to third exercise instead of second or first is obviously going to make a big difference in total volume and how you're hitting it. So waiting for that, and obviously we don't want to play around with that too much. It's sort of just not hold us back, but it slows it down. So what's already a 2-hour session becomes 2.5, 3. So those volume markers start to get up. Plus, you have to wait for someone to do their session, like get there out of the way and all that sort of shit. So we'll probably break it up to 6 days and just try and distribute the load a bit more and make some more readily accessible machines as opposed to just all the fun ones.
That makes sense. That should be fun for you to do, and let's see what you come up with, right?
Yeah, it'll be good too. It's like a first time, and I guess I get to I'll be able to market myself more in that direction. That like it's not just talking the talk. Like I literally walk this. So I got run it by adult. Look, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to do based on what markers we've hit before. This is what I'm thinking. I've started my own tracking sheets. I've got my own data and stuff in there. So I'm treating myself like my own client. Yep. Everything's in there. So yeah, it should be fun.
You're going to send yourself emails for your own check-ins and stuff. And
stop being a cheap cup. Put the cupcake down, fatty.
Send yourself some check-in photos. And
man, this guy's looking jacked.
So the things that we did well this week, nothing.
I rubbed one out 3 times.
Things to day for the following week, everything. No, that's good. It's good to hear. Should we get into some questions?
Well, I was going to say, how are you? How's Mel's?
Good.
Allowed to talk about things yet or not quite yet?
So Melbourne is good. Weather's starting to, I think, cool down a little bit now. Sun's out a little bit, but mornings are getting a little bit darker as you get up. Nights are going a little bit. The light's staying out a little bit longer. So, I take that back. The light's actually dropping down earlier, I should say. Little things. It's literally the winter is coming. It's like it's starting. I think this has been really the first week where we're like, okay, we're starting to see some lower temperatures, some late teens, early 20s. So it's like, okay. But been playing a lot of golf, which is always fun. Getting on the driving range. Been smashing some balls. It's been fun. It's always good. And it looks like I'm opening a gym.
Hey, there we go.
So when I say I'm opening,
underhype that announcement.
I'm not. So when I say I'm opening a gym, I'm not opening a commercial, semi-commercial gym. It's a business that I previously worked at. There was small group fitness classes and whatnot that liquidated the company, and it just seems to be that the location was too good of an opportunity to pass up. So there's already membership base there and all that sort of stuff. So basically walking in, taking over, redoing everything myself and my old manager, so business partner now. So that should be interesting. That's going to take up,
very exciting.
Take up a lot of time. I only really just got the confirmation probably before we jumped on this call. So literally have an investor, a silent investor, which would be pretty cool. Man. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be busy as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to taper client base down for a little while or just cap yourself out?
So what I'll do is I think I'll maintain my current client base, leave it where it is. Focus on this first and foremost, get this up and about. Doesn't mean that the service and stuff drops off with my clients.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
For my clients that are listening, don't stress. I still love you and you'll still be getting all the love and attention.
You're all fucked.
Pretty much. You're all just going to get Bulgarian split squats, 10 sets, 10 reps. And yeah, we'll build that up, build that business up, see how we go. Basically, I'll work there, be employed, take a wage, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. While my online business just accumulates. So hopefully it does well. Just if I can maintain the current numbers or thereabouts, and just go from there and see what happens. Yeah, it makes things interesting.
The good news is you've got like a starting client base there already. And so anything on top of that really just becomes growth at that point instead of starting from scratch, having to find people.
Yeah, the intent will be to actually open with a membership base that puts us in profit to start with.
Yeah. So, I mean, which would be, fucking win.
Yeah, which I think I'm pretty sure we have. We just obviously got to finalize it. So it's like having the members there, but not having them on paper signed up and, all that sort of stuff. They're two different things, right? So once they're signed, then it'll be like, okay, we've got this.
But you just have to switch systems, right? Like you were signed up here, come back, but with our system.
And we got to basically put all our systems in place and all that. So it's just a process more than anything to get done. So it's like we're working out the back end stuff a little bit and then it'll be all systems go. So it should be good. Yeah, open up May 1st, I think will be the goal. We'll actually have an InBody. I think we'll have either an InBody or an eVault machine, which would be interesting. People come in and do their measurements, even though we know how shit they are. But I mean, something's better than nothing.
Even the wrong measurement accurately done repeatedly is still a measurement, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Just track the trend. So see how we go. Should be good.
Gives us a place to run some cool some seminars and some info days and stuff as well, hey?
Definitely. We will have a facility that's got, I think we're putting in 6 TVs or something like that. So
yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have fucking screens for days to do seminars. So it'll be good.
Interesting, not to make it about that sort of industry you get into, but there was a recent 4-year court case that went on for anyone that might know about the industry of the group fitness world. One company tried to sue another well-known company for the use of demonstrated activity on TV systems.
TV systems, yeah, I saw.
They tried to claim trademark. The judge was just like, look, cool idea. You can't trademark the patent progression of technology.
Yeah.
You can't trademark a hypothetical methodology.
Yeah, you can't trademark that every other gym that you don't know about is using TVs.
It's like a certain brand that tried to claim trademark over the word custard.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good laugh while we're in the industry.
Yeah, considering the word custard has been around for generations, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll just claim it now because we invented it, dickheads.
But yeah, so we'll have. We've also got a few facilities up here that are keen to let us in and book out to
let us in.
Let us in, let us in and run sessions and seminars and stuff. So info days. So we're thinking a nice cool mixture of talking stress management, training management, hormones, drugs, all the fun stuff that. Yeah. And let's be honest, judging by the coaches that are currently there, it'll be very educational for them.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to do. I was thinking the other day, it'd be cool to do like not a super seminar, but like a collective seminar, we'll call it, where we have like 4 or 5 coaches presenting over 2 days and presenting certain topics that they're good at, which would be pretty fun. I've got a couple of coaches in mind that I can reach out to. Actually, it'd be interesting. Like you, me, Chris. Think maybe Nick would be pretty cool to jump out to, and a couple others in Queensland there, which would be fun. But just ideas. We'll see how we go.
I mean, the thing I'm wrapping my head around slowly too is like I'm in this weird phase of a rush, but at the same time, I'm not in a rush. So previously it was like I've got to get all this work done in my uni break before I go back to uni and work full time. Yeah. Now I'm back to uni, but my work full time is the business. Whereas I was doing work full time plus the business plus training plus uni, and so like all these cool things. This would be fucking great. I need to get this done. Get this done. I'm like, wait. What's the rush for? I do this for the rest of my life now. Like this isn't like a break in another load somewhere. It's just like get ready to do this forever. So setting up systems now makes things better down the track. But at the same time, like I keep thinking I have to like pull myself back from thinking. My business mentor said this. She's like, you've got to slow the fuck down. She's like, you're so big picture orientated, and like I can tell you dot by dot where the stages and processes are going to go and how matters going to expand. which is like, that's all well and good, but we're going to start here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stop trying to get to here without going here first.
Yeah. Which is what,
step one.
Ironically, how I tell most of my clients, but
yeah.
I'm different.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. There's a very big difference.
She was like trying to talk to me about like life balance and shit. And she's like, oh, try and get all work done during the work hours and stuff. I'm like,
like what's that?
I have mates that get messages at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, hey, this is a good idea. I want to do this. And
it's like, try it. Well, hold on. It's like, do work inside work hours, but I work 12 a.m. to 12 p.m.
My brain's 24 hours. Like,
I work in very big blocks. So my big block is 24 hours. So 7 days.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's, it's been funny. Like trying to explain to someone the way in which I want to go. Like I want to write the content. I want to do the programming. I want to do clients. I want to do posing. I want to do videos, like all this stuff. I want to create content, do TikTok, articles, blogs. Yeah. When she says like, oh, do the work during work hours. I'm like, yeah, the check-ins and stuff during work hours, content creation during work hours, but the extra fun stuff like the study, the research, writing articles, writing blogs, collaborating with people, like all that happens outside of the hours. And that to me is fun. Like I don't need to go looking for fun. Like I'm going to go drink to pass the week or something. Like I find it fun learning new topics or researching things a bit further and like writing about it. Like that's fun to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny. You'll get to a point because it's like when you're younger as well, it's like doing that shit's not fun. It's like most of the time, most people, like when you're younger, you just don't appreciate it. And it's like as you start to get older, and especially when you start to run your own business or when you start to own something. So it doesn't necessarily need to be your business, but when you start to own things, especially like from a mental perspective, like you own your decisions, you own your actions, you start to really appreciate that sort of stuff. You're like, okay. And then most of the time, again, most of us would have parents that would be like, just wait until you get older because you're going to see it a little bit differently. And as a kid, you're like, nah. And then you get there and you're like, fuck.
Shut bitch.
Prick was fucking right. Which is a conversation I seem to have a lot.
I do agree, but it's been fun because like to me, I'm not going to rely. I don't rely on other people so much. Like if I can write the content, if I can write the thing, if I can do the thing, I want to do it because also it's learning curves for me. Like if I have to outsource, great, I will do it from time to time. But if it's stuff that I can do, I'm like, let's do it. I want to figure it out. Me and Brooklyn want to figure it out. How do we do this? How do I write it?
The beauty of that is when you make more money, that will change.
Well, yes, yeah.
It's such a funny thing, man.
Then I can do just the things I love.
Well, the thing is, and it's like I think we've said it before on this podcast, but it's literally the concept of buying time.
Yes.
And for me, it's such a big thing. It's like just the concept itself. It's like, being able to spend money on things that you might know and be good at, but someone else is probably going to do it more efficiently.
Yeah.
And it's going to
just their thing.
And it's that time that you would have put into that you can now go put into what you love that makes you money also. And it's like, it's such a big principle in like being being self-employed and leveraging your time and your income to say, hey, I can afford to let you do that because it's going to allow me to make more money here. So you're making money over there while I'm making money over here. Win-win. And
that's what I try to get across to her. Cause like, she has other, like in the business group we're in, there's a few other people in there and they're kind of like, hobby business owners, like, it's kind of like they still want a social life. They still want to go out. I'm like, cool. My social life is going to the gym. My social life is writing programming and talking to clients.
Exactly.
My social life is writing content. So, what's considered fun to me, my downtime, my relaxation time, but also my business time, it to me is like the more I do those things now, gets me to a position where I can leverage that sooner as opposed to having to do it later. And then I can move on to the next part and again, the next part. Because like I've spoken with Benny Scott and stuff, it's not the desire to make money that drives me to make the business so big. It's that I genuinely believe what we're going to do will help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then that people, then I get to a point where I'm doing, like, I want to get to a point where I do like Jordan Peterson level seminars for free, like just rock up and learn. I don't care if it's half an hour, if it's a fucking hour, but like I want a fucking stadium just filled with people being like, how do I understand stress better? How do I understand my potential better? How do I, whatever. And so for me, the faster I can get there for free, I need to make money, obviously, first.
Yes, yeah. I get it. I agree. I mean, it's like I said, it's just interesting to see how that perception changes over time. Oh, yeah. It's always funny to watch. It's like I've got a couple of coaches that I mentor and it's just like, I can't wait for these guys to just like see their progression. And it's just funny. It takes me back. You just sit there and you're like, back in my day, like literally going to be one of those people. Back in my day,
yeah.
what's this going to happen? But anyway, should we break the questions out?
Yeah, I was getting to it. Apparently there's a fair few, so why not?
There is a few. Let's have a look at what we got. So, most awkward thing you have done in the gym? I just whacked myself in the boob with a dumbbell. I mean, I've whacked myself in the boob with a cable.
Yeah, fair cop. I've done the old like smack yourself in the head with the when you're doing lat pull downs and the bars just spinning.
Yeah, skull crush.
Skull crushes, yeah, that too.
Skull crushes, that's very common. Yeah. I mean, i.e. the name.
Yeah.
What else have I done that's embarrassing in the gym? I don't know, awkward, I guess. Most awkward thing you've done in the gym. What's the most awkward thing I've done in the gym?
I mean, farts for sure.
But I don't even think that's awkward anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, whatever.
So
I mean, I did do that on like a PB squat, but I did warn the person behind me that I'm probably going to fart, so don't stand too close. But they did. And I farted. I'm like, well, shit happens. Literally. Literally. Chris isn't on, so he can't answer that question. If you could go pro in any sport besides powerlifting or bodybuilding, what would it be?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah, some flog asked it.
Hey, just increasing the repertoire of conversation, you know?
Go on.
I would have loved to have gone pro at league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, league will just always have that little spot in the old nostalgic heart.
Yeah.
That I just wish I got that next stage would always be that thing that I was just like, you know, I'm never going to be that. Back in my day, you know, I was this great. Like I know I wasn't good enough to make it. So there's never going to be one of those conversations, but it's more so it would have been good to see that next level up and how the locker rooms change, what the conversations are, what the people like is it, because things I've heard, you know, there's the ideas of the teammates and the new guy that comes up and all sort of jazz, but you know, what else goes on behind the scenes of the team and getting to play at that level, the pressure and being amongst the loudness of it would have just been, fucking fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I played tennis at quite a high level. Like I played on the satellite tour, so it's like literally one below the ATP tour way back in the day, again, back in my day. To continue with that would have been interesting. I feel like, I mean, definitely would have made my golf game better.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that would have been interesting again. But yeah, I think that would have been the only sport that I would have taken professionally at the time. I mean, I do have a very, very big love for jiu-jitsu at the moment. Not at the moment. I've had a love for jiu-jitsu since I started like 10 years ago. You can make money from it and be like, I guess, what they deem a professional athlete. It's kind of like a bodybuilding thing, like sponsors will pay you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, usually if you're at a high level,
the sport itself doesn't make a large amount.
Yeah, like they have prize money and stuff like that, but there's no like actual employment, if that makes sense. You know, so you get sponsored and stuff like that, or you're open an academy and you teach, which is like the other thing. So I mean, tennis or jiu-jitsu, I think, would have been the thing from that aspect outside of powerlifting, bodybuilding. Brooklyn is the best at the end. Okay. Thanks, Brooklyn.
Is that a question?
No, just thanks. She just decided.
No, I'm questioning it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm questioning it.
Yeah, I'm questioning it.
It's like, are you though? Challenge.
Captain challenge.
Third umpire review, please. If you could train in any gym in the world, which would you choose?
It used to always be Gold's Venice, and that nostalgic, fun bodybuilding history, like train there would be fun. But I'm really keen on the Dragon's Lair in Vegas.
Yeah,
that has looked nothing but like an epic facility.
Lair looks pretty sick for me, only because I follow so many guys from there, like Kuba and all that in England. I want to go to Rotherham Gym, the Ultraflex at Rotherham.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh, I don't even know if it is for for the equipment, because I know he's a bit of an equipment snob like me, which is always handy. Like he's got Cybex Hack, he's got like Prime, he's got custom Prime. I think it's like in red, so it's like it looks sick.
Yeah.
But also for the people that train there, people like Kuba, AJ, like it'd be just sick to go in and train.
Yeah.
There.
I was just any that are owned by someone in the industry as opposed to someone who just wants money, they're always a great facility. Like whether someone's a powerlifter or a bodybuilder, like if they're well into the industry of that sport, they're generally going to have a good facility.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like O2 gym, I reckon would be fun.
Yeah, that looks stupid. Like it looks like stupid big and like almost unnecessarily big, but also you've got like half a country thinking that's a professional sport, like they're allowed to do that as a job now.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, are you training in the gym for the gym or are you training in the gym for the people? Because then it's like Dallas gym would be sick because like
Metroflex,
yeah, like that'd be fucking mad. Are you serious?
Yeah, that'd be insane. Yeah, the equipment looks like absolute trash. The place,
but you go, well, not Metroflex. Metroflex would be sick. Don't get me wrong, but the other one in Dallas that they all train at, like where they had the meetup. Where like,
yes. Shit. There's so many pros that train there.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Dallas.
Yeah, I can't remember what the facility's called though, because it's not. It's not the hostile gym. It's not the.
No, it's where the Gaspari guys train and all that. It's the. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, Dallas is in the name. I'm pretty sure. So. Like I train there just purely because of all the people that go there. Like that'd be sick. Yeah. You're looking at
yeah, I am. It just came up with dumb shit. It just keeps saying destination.
Destination. Yeah.
Destination Dallas gym.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty sick. I'm trying to think if there's any other gyms in Europe or the States. Any gyms in Australia that I really want to train at? I mean, not really.
There's a really good one on the Gold Coast. There's an EMF down there that's got like, but like it's a good multi-industry.
I've been there. I've been to the EMF there.
Yeah, so it's got like the air reduction facilities. It's got like the pools. It's got like all the different types of aeronautics, bikes, treadmills, sprints. Has a sprint track. Has like all the saunas and hot tubs, all the cool like that extra shit.
The only thing I think the only gym I train at or want to train at would be like up there anyway would be Iron Asylum. I reckon would be pretty cool.
Iron Asylum does look good. Again, mostly for the people who are there.
Yeah. Otherwise, short of that, it's kind of like if it's got some decent equipment, I don't really care. I'm pretty good. Can train there.
Staff, honestly, like I won't change gyms now for ages. What a Stafford's got there.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah. What else do we have here? That's it for that page. Let's move over to the other page. Thoughts on expectation effect on comp prep and how to use it to your benefit instead of negative.
Is this saying like
on expectation effect? So what's expectation effect?
So how your expectations affect comp?
Thoughts on expectations affecting comp prep. Is that what the question is? Okay, let's go with that.
So are we saying like expectation of how you look on stage or how you're going to come?
Yeah, let's go with that. So thoughts on expectations. So thoughts on expectations affecting comp prep and how to use it to your benefit. There we go. Let's do that.
Okay, let's go with that. All right. Well, for starters, you can't have a single expectation of prep other than what you can do. So you can't, I wouldn't even have an expectation of weight. It's something I had to adjust my mindset on, but you can't have an expectation of weight category. You can't have an expectation of placing. You can't have an expectation of who's turning up on the day, who's in and out, who's not even on social media, what judges you're going to have. Like you need to, and this is the issue that I have with a lot of people, is they place energy and emotion in the uncontrollable instead of focusing on what's controllable. Mm-hmm. So, there's back when I played a league, there was teams you just knew you were putting 50 points on. And you just knew time after time, every season, there's one team you might put 50 on, there's a team you might beat just as a team you might just, like it's going to be a good match. And so you can have those expectations, but even still when that happened, we were still encouraged, like, you're not going out there to have like, you don't play down to their level, you play up at our level and obviously put the 50 points on. If you only get 20 and it could be 60, we're going to be doing sprints.
Yep.
And I think that same premise applies is you need to remove the expectation that you're going to win or you're going to come first or whatever. Train for it, live for it, work for it. The intent is to win, but the difference between intention and expectation is you're going to create a false sense of security, confidence, safety. Like you should go in there almost chip on your shoulder, like you're like, fucking, I'm going to lose. I need to bust my ass. Like I am training to win because if I don't, I'm going to lose.
Yep.
Like, that can be the approach. Yep. But I think if expectation is driving you that, well, I know I'm going to come first because I'm working the hardest. There's 20 other cunts there that are working hard. There's 20 other blokes there that are doing the same shit. Like in your category, there's at least 20 to 25 people doing the exact same things you were doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're willing to do more drugs. Maybe they're willing to diet less food. Maybe they're willing to do more cardio. You need to be willing to do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's 20 other people doing the same thing. You can't just say, I'm entitled because I work hard. Cool. Everyone's working hard. You're getting to 3% body fat. That doesn't happen easily. So I think that, and being such a subjective sport, like, we've got objective metrics we can gauge how you should come to stage,
mm-hmm.
but it's subjectively identified and judged, categorized next to each other, compared next to each other. So, expectation needs to be on the expectations of what you have for yourself and the metrics that you have to tick off, the measurements you have to achieve, the daily checks, is like Chris was saying, the expectation has to be on you to achieve those things. And that will give you the best possible chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that the expectation be placed on, I know I'm coming first. Because I promise you, if you think that, you're not going to work hard enough.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess like having expectations of yourself necessarily isn't a bad thing. It's just where you put them is the biggest thing. And it's always the emphasis on the journey, not so much the result.
Have high expectations of yourself, and those expectations then come with follow through and action. You expect a lot of you, so therefore you have to do a lot, work hard.
Mm-hmm.
But the expectation can't be on the extrinsic you have no control over, which is judging.
Yeah, for sure. Reflections on your first time, specifically the first client you took to stage platform, and says any changes since the approach. Man, first client I took to the platform. When was that? It would have been 2016, I think. Maybe 2015, 2016, one of them. Long time ago now. Definitely a lot's changed. I feel like if nothing had changed, either I got very lucky from the start or I just haven't evolved. So I definitely didn't get very lucky from the start. I have definitely evolved my approach and my practices to get clients to the platform. It was a rehab client back in the day. Had gone to a powerlifting coach to fix her squat, to try and work on her squat. It didn't work out too well and aggravated her hip. Came to me to sort of fix the hip. Got the hip fixed and squatting some pretty good numbers. Basically wanted to be a client when I wasn't really taking clients on necessarily at the time, just working clinic, and took her on as a client. Basically got her at 64 kilos to 150 kg or 150, or I can't remember. It was either 150 or 160 kg squat in sleeves for 64 kilo girl. Pretty strong.
Pretty strong, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe a 75 kilo bench at the time. And I want to say it was a 170 deadlift. It was close to an Australian record at the time from memory. This is a long time ago now. Definitely the approaches have changed since then. Also, at the time, I was only one client working in sleeves, and now I have both sleeved and wrapped clients. For example, I now also have natural and enhanced clients. So, definitely a lot of changes, a lot of good changes, a lot of positive changes. Understanding, the science a little bit better and what to track and whatnot, and how to manage a client's fatigue a little bit better than what it was instead of the old. And I remember my original spreadsheet, my original programming, because it was my first online client, was literally like it was a table that you could draw up in Excel, and it'd have all I do is I list the days, right, and I wouldn't even list the days. I'd list the exercises. So it'd be like squat and then the squat accessories, bench accessories, deads, and all the accessories. And what I'd do is I'd highlight the main exercise, and that's how you knew the day to break it up. So it's like, okay, highlighted squat. So the next 6 exercises and squat is one day. Then I'd highlight bench, and then bench, and the next 5-6 exercises would be highlighted. It would be bench day. And it's just like all in one spreadsheet, like the exact same, didn't change. And then sets and reps, and that was it. And then load if I needed to include load. So yeah, lots changed.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't got anyone to stage yet, but I'm looking forward to it. However, just in my change of approach from last time where I was directly coaching and that was my job, my entire approach is completely different. So how I get someone ready to handle training loads, how I get someone on board, how I get someone into the system, how I get someone in the process and mindset and orientation of what they're trying to achieve, what we're trying to do, how I periodize things, all tenfold better than what it was when I first started. I was obviously like that. I was still pretty educated. I still did like S&C level 1. I was like, so I studied there with ASCA, did all those sort of things. Went out of my way to try and search people that I knew to sort of look at things, end up looking at a lot of the wrong people, but still looked at things to implement. But yeah, this time just very, very different approach. So, you wouldn't want to be, like, yeah, it sucks. Like, you look back and be like, oh, that first person should have given this. But even looking back now on clients I did have, like, there was a reason I didn't stay there full time, ended up lasting there. Not lasting, like I would have progressively got better, but at the same time, my head just wasn't quite right for the degree of business ownership that I want to have now and what I'm trying to do. So
of course, yeah, that comes with experience, maturity, change of want.
Yeah. Like, one of my clients, very simple method that we're applying is like his starting body fat percentage, though he wanted to get in prep, hadn't done it yet, was a higher position than I would like to start someone at prep at. So our plan on my periodization focus for the next 12 months is just evenly distributing volume and just tapering down his food with maintenance. So getting to a degree of being leaner and leaner, so they actually know where he's starting prep versus jumping straight in, and we have to go to net negative calories straight off the bat with fuck all energy availability and no mood, no hormones, no training. So yeah, very different approaches.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what happens with age and maturity and experience, right?
Learning
all the things. As a coach, when writing programs, do you use Excel or apps?
Excel.
I use Google Sheets. It's so much easier. I do know, like, Doltz, when he came down and I was having a chat with him, he loves using Trainerize. It was really pushing it, really. He really, really likes Trainerize. But it's funny because on the other hand, I've heard so many coaches hate Trainerize. So it could
each
be
app.
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, each app I've found when I've looked into them is just, it comes with their nuances and their difficulties. Like they all come with a limitation or a problem. Mine personally, like being coached by Dolt and using the app, I would get pissed off and would fail to track my data just because if I only got a 90-second rest and I'm mid-break, the time to get my phone out, load the app, because the app will naturally shift off the screen. I'm going to reload the app, get into the session, enter the data, then save that data, then move on to the next exercise. So at the moment for me, I'm just literally writing everything in book and reloading it later.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and like I said, I think like you just said, I think every piece of software will have its its pros and its cons, and it's like which one is easiest to manage, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I use Google Sheets for everything, so onboarding and all that sort of stuff. And then what I do is I just suggest to the client to download an app, whether it be based off Android or iPhone, and that way they can track their own loads. And all I do is I just track their progression. I don't actually track their workouts per se. It's like I'm not going to lie. Knowing how much you dumbbell curl doesn't really affect me. Like, I don't care. It's more so, did you put on more weight or reps the following week? That's what I care about. Is there a form of progression there? And then that's what I track more so. I think being a bit more an intermediate to advanced coach, I think, compared to in the beginning when you need to potentially track a client and making sure that they're just adherent to their program and actually, filling shit in. yeah, I don't deal with that type of client anymore, which is nice. Though I guess I'm going back to Gen Pop coaching, so that should be fun.
Oh yeah.
So I can slap them all.
At
At least
it'd
that'll
be
be
funny. It'd be funny hearing your experiences going from like being the last 12 to 24 months, where it's just been nothing but.
Honestly, man, it's like part of me misses it, coaching in that aspect. Yeah. It's funny. I like coaching online because I get specific clientele, intermediate to advanced clientele, right? Mm-hmm. The beauty of intermediate to advanced can also be its downfall. The majority of them are robots. Yeah. Yeah, they run into problems and have things that we need to solve. No problem. Like, no worries. Like that's cool. That's fun. But having a Gen Pop client who's never squatted before hit a squat, and like you see their genuine excitement when they hit it, it will always be more rewarding to me, I think, than having an intermediate or advanced client do something really well. And it's just like, a powerlifting client who's fucking intermediate, squats 220 and hits 230 PB, while is fucking awesome. Like, I'm wrapped. I'm never going to be.
It's inevitable.
It's not as fulfilling to me as, the doctor said I can't squat because of my knees and my hips, and then they hit a squat and they love it. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
That's better. I like that. That makes me happy.
I got that same reaction or response, I guess. One of my clients, like, the big goals and the long-term process, like, I could have stepped out how I'd like his training to progress, but being that he's never done training before, he's never done programming, he's never done like diet adherence, that desire of like, by this benchmark and this time, this marker, we should be at this point in this time. It was not going to be the case. I had to get the little things in place first for him, where we started understanding the principles of sleep. We started understanding the benefits of like food portion. We started understanding the benefits of progressive overload and increasing each week, getting him to get minimal fruits and veg and that sort of thing, where as opposed to like the cold truck and the hot truck and all sort of shit, like seeing that. And now he's starting to see that he's down 2 shirt sizes and he's starting to like feel genuine size reduction, and we've still got another 3 or 4 months for his goal. That to me is like, it's very easy to train beasts that already exist. But to me, it's like more exciting to get someone who's like wanting to become one, who's never been one. And then it starts to click in their head how they do it. And you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What else we got? Making meals less voluminous on a low-fat gaining phase. So gaining on 500 plus carbs and 60 grams of fat. Making meals less voluminous on low-fat. I mean, you can use like 500 grams of carbs, depending on, I guess, your health status. You can always implement liquids. Yeah. That's always usually the first thing people go to. So whether it be cordials, juices that sort of stuff. Again, provided you're healthy.
If you're getting majority micronutrients and like your food starts getting higher, things like V8 juices become a fucking godsend, because you're still going to get legitimate micronutrients because it is it is juiced food. It is actual juiced fruits. But it's just such easy fructose that it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, there is going to be a ton of sugar and stuff in juices and all that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So it's like you're getting your carbohydrate intake from there as well, without having to increase necessarily food volume. Like it's interesting for myself. Like rice is always a go-to. Like
bagels, jams.
Yeah, like these higher carbohydrate dense foods are things that I prefer to eat. Same time, it's like I actually like eating rice. Yeah, I like eating the food. So it's like, and to be honest with you, when I read gaining on 500 plus carbs, it's like, what's the plus? Like, to be brutally honest, like if you are listening, 500 grams of carbs isn't that much in a gaining phase. Like for context, again, personal anecdote, I've been on 1,200 grams of carbs.
1,100.
Like that's when you need to worry about food volume.
I was on like 10, 50, 1,100 carbs and then only on like 75 fat. So
yeah, I was on pretty much. I think I was on 65 fat and about 1,100, 1,200 carb. So that wasn't fun. So that's when you need to get creative with your food. 500 grams of carbs is pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty easy. But yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yep. Basically, just hit your micronutrient necessities and then get food from simple sugars.
Yeah, exactly.
Mollies, soft drinks, jams, spreads.
Yeah, just track your blood glucose to make sure you're not going too crazy.
Yeah.
Who is going to win, Thor or Eddie?
Man, I think at this point it's actually dangerous for Thor. If Eddie connects with him, he's going to fucking hurt. Eddie is looking small.
I think at this point, I really don't care.
Like, yeah, that too.
Like,
been dragged on for that long.
I feel like when they meant to fight like 25 years ago and it never happened, and it's just like, fuck, man, this fight keeps dragging out longer and longer. It's like, bruh, like, where does it end?
At this point, like legally, they just wouldn't be in a conventional fight. They just wouldn't even be in the same ring at this point. Eddie's still like almost strongman weight. Thor is legitimately down to try and fight people. Like he's in he's still a heavy guy.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember how much Eddie weighs now. 200 and what was it? 200 and something pounds. He had lost a bit of weight. I know Thor has as well. Eddie Hall, wait, let's see if we can. He's 164 kg according to Google. Though it does say that Thor is 146.
Yeah, that's not true. That must be an old date.
Yeah, when's that? Jesus. Hey, he's born 2 days before me, same year. Who knew? Didn't know that. Yeah, well, according to Wikipedia, his weight's 146, but I mean, is it? That's another story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, it's a bit crazy to think. Who cares? Who cares?
There's punching at least a 20, 30 kilo difference between the two of them now. Like, Eddie's still strongman sized, and Thor looks like he's ready to do like light heavyweight boxing. Yeah, well, Eddie's, in theory, it's like you'd think from a boxing perspective, the reach of Thor is going to be the biggest problem. So it's like you'd think by that alone, like if Thor can keep his distance and then land one, it's game over. And then if Eddie does manage to land one, it's still game over because they're heavyweights or ultra heavyweights. It's like he's literally throwing cannonballs from each arm. I feel like that it doesn't make a difference as long if you're like 130 plus. It's all the same. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter. And like watching the heavyweights in the UFC, it's kind of like the same thing. Watching like Tai Tuivasa like fight. Man, him and can't remember who he fought in his last fight. I can't remember his name. They're both like heavyweight knockout artists. So it's like, it doesn't matter. As long as one of them connects, you're getting knocked out. It doesn't make a difference. And it's literally what I did. You just threw a friggin' elbow and just knocked him out. And you're like, oh, righto. That's it. Game over. Like, yeah, connected with an elbow, he went down. It's like, okay, game over. Like, that's it. It doesn't matter which way you go about it. As soon as you connect, you're out. And honestly, it's going to be such a technically boring fight to watch. There's not going to be work. It's going to be an impressive bout of technical skill. Yeah. It's just going to be haymakers and exhausted heavy breathing. Yeah, it would be awesome if they just stand in front of each other and just trade. Just go. Like, you know, those boxing little games, the old ones where you flick the thing and they just punch in front of them. Just that. That'd be sick. Rocket Sock and Robots. Yeah, literally. That'd be awesome. It would be fucking awesome. But yeah, that's it for questions. I feel like should leave the game until Chris is actually back on. Yes. Two people. Two people in that game seems to be a bit boring. It doesn't end up about me. Yeah, it's just literally just Ben. Every answer is Ben. Who's got a small dick? Ben. So for the listeners, anything that we need to know about Benny Boy? No. So the course is taking a bit of a back foot. Not so much a back foot. The content's still getting made, things getting done, but I'm going to focus that more so firstly on clients I already have. I really just nail on getting in the best I can, which again came back from that realization of just slowing things down. I know how on the course to look. I know no one is going to do that degree of education in a way that I will do it. So it's not like I'm rushing to beat someone. Mm-hmm. So just making sure it's good content over time, and I'll release it as it gets done. Plus a lot of the modules and stuff, like I've started modularizing it, fits to what clients need now. So getting it made as I need it and applying it to clients I already have has really just sort of perspectivized things a little bit more. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm just focused on just getting more clients on board, helping more people, getting more information out there, doing that sort of stuff. So that's the main priority at the moment. Big pictures and big plans down the track, but I can't get there if the business falls under, right? Well, I mean, it makes life a little bit more difficult. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, it creates challenge. Yes. So by all means, if you're on the fence of listening to coaching, it's still wide open. results are going crazy at the moment, which is really cool to see. People are like hearing one of my clients tell me for the first time since he's had previous coaches that he's excited to train and actually like feeling motivated by the program, not just like the initial motivation of like getting into a new program. Like he's actually excited to go to the gym, not just excited to lose weight or like lose body fat. That's a really cool thing for me because I want people to feel the same excitement I do when I train and get to do that. So that's that process for me is pretty exciting. So yeah, definitely reach out. Inquiry forms on the website and Linktree. Yeah, that's pretty much for me at the moment.
Fair enough. I think I'm just opening a gym, so that's about it from me.
Not big.
Yeah, I had things, and then this sort of happened, and I'm like, okay, those things have to wait now. And gym, so gym and playing golf, good times.
Balance.
It's all I do these days: golf, jiu-jitsu, play, and open gyms. That's it. So, as always, from us to you, thank you for tuning in. We will be back with you next week. If there's any talking topics you wish for us to discuss, always DM Ben, never me. Or you can put them in the question box that we put up usually the morning of the podcast on a Wednesday morning. That's it from us. Goodbye.
See you guys.